In 2017, researcher Dario Monti proposed a fascinating hypothesis that Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper might have been inspired by a location far from its current home. According to this idea, the real setting for the masterpiece was the San Calogero Monastery in Civate, Lombardy. Although the original theory lacked solid proof, we find the idea compelling. In this video, we revisit that claim, this time armed with new, convincing evidence that suggests Leonardo discovered his ideal setting for the iconic Milanese fresco within the walls of this historic monastery.
Leonardo è stato qui perché ha scritto molto di questi luoghi e soprattutto ha dovuto studiare la costruzione di una serie di canalizzazioni che permettessero con delle chiuse di passare dal lago di Como al Lambro per poter arrivare con le barche fino a Milano, facilitando i trasporti. Questo non era stato possibile, nonostante il suo studio, farlo per arrivare dall'Adda e congiungerla al canale della Martesana, perché a un certo punto ci sono delle rapide e è impossibile passare con delle barche.
Il chiostro è stato via via ampliato, è diventato da un solo ordine a 2 ordini, verosimilmente sempre il chiostro da una forma rettangolare aperta verso il lago è stato poi chiuso con quella realizzazione di questi ambienti, di questi saloni e quindi è diventato di forma quadrata.
Leonardo's masterpiece decorates the refectory of the Santa Maria della Grazia monastery in Milan, the dining hall of the Dominican friars. The site we now reconsider is the former refectory of the San Calogero monastery. Today, this hall serves as an elegant reception room, but older maps confirm its original function as a refectory.
Ma questa sala e questa parte del monastero è rimasta praticamente nella stessa struttura che aveva la struttura romanica. Lo si può vedere dai lacerti che sono rimasti nelle murature anche lungo il chiostro. E quindi questa sala aveva già questa struttura caratteristica. Le modifiche che noi vediamo, per esempio le strombature, le finestre, il rifacimento di alcune parti, sono da addebitarsi agli interventi minori che sono stati fatti nel Cinquecento da altri abati commendatari, mentre veniva ricostruito l'intero chiostro a 2 ordini sovrapposti.
This means Leonardo perhaps chose a real dining hall as the model for another. A creative choice that aligns with his inventive mind, though it proves nothing by itself. The dimensions of the current hall correspond strikingly to the proportions seen in the fresco. The crosswise placement of the table in the painting barely fits between the 2 walls. Notice how the outermost apostles appear pressed against the walls. Could this composition have originated from a daring experiment? Perhaps Leonardo rotated the usual long table to achieve this dynamic arrangement. Such a bold move would not have been out of character for the ever-curious master.
Questa altezza è simile a quella che Leonardo avrebbe visto in questa sala, stando in questa posizione circa e osservando una tavola posta di traverso nella stanza stessa.
By using the estimated height of the apostles, we can actually calculate the width of this hall. Like one man in the 15th century was about 170 centimeters high, so if we can calculate with 165 centimeters, it's probably more precise because the apostole was not standing straight up. The table is exactly 3 times the length, which gives us 495 centimeters. As we can see, there's very little space left between the edge of the table and the wall, about 35 or 40 centimeters. So if we add it all up, we come to like 565, 575 centimeters, which matches perfectly the width of the hole, which is 570 centimeters. But this is still not the most important evidence that we have. I discovered that if we look at the eastern landscape, the elements of it match really well with the ones on Leonardo's fresco. Now there are some trees that cover it, but from the next floor it's pretty obvious. Looking east and southeast from the hall's balcony, the exact same landscape details appear as on the fresco. From left to right, Leonardo depicted the landscape in 4 sections. These are worth examining in detail. Behind the left-hand window, Leonardo showed the distance of the mountain ranges through shades of blue, and their outlines matched the real landscape. On the right, in the pale blue section, the increased contrast brings out distant mountains. Only one difference can be detected between the painting and the photograph. In the spot marked with a dashed line on the photo, the mountain range does not continue. This area was likely used as a quarry in later times, as we can see. Since the lower part of the fresco shows nothing but a few trees, we may assume from Gianpietro's copy that a lake was once visible on the right. Thus, on the fresco not only the outlines of the mountain ranges, but also the placement of trees and the lake match the real landscape. To the left of Christ, after a small bump, we see a hill rising. The small bump is in reality smaller than it appears in the painting, which may be due to the terraced leveling of the terrain carried out since then. Beneath this, a body of water, and then in the immediate foreground, a stretch of ground appear on both the fresco and Gianpietro's copy. This corresponds entirely to the real terrain. Since this part is obscured by foliage from the balcony view, I used Google Earth perspective above the monastery for the illustration. This only slightly distorts what would be visible from the balcony. To the right of Christ, next to the Apostle Thomas, there are no distinctive landscape features, but one can see that the mountainous terrain flattens out, just as in the actual landscape.
Perhaps the most compelling argument for San Calogero lies beyond its walls, in the view. Through the eastern openings, the panorama closely matches what we see behind Christ in the Last Supper. All these correspondences can hardly be coincidence. There is, however, one feature in the fresco absent from the real view: a small church tower. Tiny as it is, Leonardo painted it with remarkable detail. Since no other structure appears in the landscape, its presence must hold meaning.
The former bell tower of San Calogero collapsed at the turn of the century, but old photographs and engravings show us that it resembled the one on Leonardo's Last Supper. In Gianpietro's copy of the fresco, we can see not only the tower but also the church. They both look really similar to the old photographs. While this alone does not allow us to state that the Leonardo painted San Calogero, but knowing him, it would not be surprising. Leonardo was known well hiding different allusions in his pictures.
Ascanio Sforza Visconti viene nominato nel 1484 abate commendatario del monastero di San Pietro e Calogero di Civate dal Papa. Viene immediatamente qui e prende possesso dei beni. Perché Leonardo poté essere qui? Perché era amico del cardinale Ascanio Sforza Visconti, fratello di Ludovico il Moro, e quindi ha potuto risiedere qui e dimostrare anche la sua amicizia dimostrata ad Ascanio Sforza Visconti, anzi in altra maniera pare che abbia scritto per lui un testo di educazione musicale, perché Ascanio era innamorato della musica.
Finally, consider this. San Calocero lies a mere 8 kilometers from Rocchetta di Airuno, which we link to the background of the Mona Lisa. Both works are believed to date from the mid to late 1490s. Could Leonardo have found inspiration for two of his greatest masterpieces within the same Lombard landscape? Whether or not this hole in Civate truly shaped the Last Supper, the clues are compelling. Architectural echoes, panoramic alignments, and a lone church standing as silent witness. In Leonardo's world, art and reality intertwine seamlessly. Perhaps here, in San Calocero, that intertwining still whispers its secrets.